the one with the dude actually singing in the video?
I didn't get a video. I got the song. It showed the song.
No, you gotta get the one with the video. There's a dude singing.
You mean he's singing this song? The same song?
Yes, yes.
Are you sure?
100%. I was just watching it.
Put it in the link in the chat.
Go away, Daytona. It's a Japanese. He looks hella like this.
Well, where's the link?
It's in the chat. I don't like this guy.
What's that on? Oh, got it. Okay, so this guy? Hey,
Yeah,
what's up,
like
internet?
That's the good one.
Hey, shut up mute your shit.
Mute what shit?
What is all this commotion over here?
It's on your.
Oh, it's all the stupid fucking, these things, right?
You have it open on like 3 tabs, huh?
Why is it all, it's muted?
It's on your. I don't hear it. You have it open on like 3.
I hear a ton of echoes. They're everywhere.
They must hear it too. I don't hear it. I don't hear it.
I don't know how to solve this problem.
They're everywhere. They must hear it too. They must. Oh man, it sounds crazy.
Yeah, I know. It does sound crazy.
Just close those windows, dude.
All of them?
I guess. Oh man, it sounds crazy. Oh man, it sounds crazy.
Yeah, I know. It does.
Or no, just pause the streams. Don't even mute them. Just pause them. See what happens.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Pause. Pause. I think I fixed it. All right, now let's watch this guy. Is it the same guy? Hey, what's up, internet? By the way.
What do you mean it's the same guy? Look at him.
That's not the same guy.
I don't know. He just
They
looks
took
like
a
Tensai
cool song and they turned it into this shit? What is it?
Let's go away from Daytona, USA. Come on.
His English is good.
Yeah, he does that 222 shit, right? Yeah, that's the guy. That's the same guy. All right, well, that guy's cool. I'm glad you found that.
No problem.
Anyway, how's it going, internet? That was an interesting intro. How did you find that? I googled that. I didn't find that guy.
You told me what the song was. I just went on YouTube. That was the first thing.
Oh, see, okay. I didn't search for the song. I searched for Daytona USA arcade whatever. And then that song actually is like not the intro song that I thought it was. It's actually another song. But anyway, that game was tight. I think everyone can agree on that. How's it going, internet? It's Thursday. I'm joined by Ricksto. What's up, Ricky? Oh, hey, I forgot to put your Twitter. Ah, fuck it. Yeah, it's Rick Steezy with 3 E's. Everyone, you don't really want to follow him unless you want to hear about basketball and shit. That's all he ever tweets about. Basketball and road raging with Asian chicks. Whatever, right?
Dude,
I guess that's actually kind of cool. All right, go on.
Why are we still at the beach, by the way?
What's wrong with the beach? I like the beach. I don't like the real beach, but I like the T4 beach.
We're only at halfway the beach, and then we're at the Sunny Hills.
Sunny Hills?
Yeah, parking lot. Sunny Hills.
Listen, if you could combine Southern Hills Golfland and the beach,
Sunnyvale,
what else do you want in life? And that's what I've done here. Okay, so you can't ask for more. Anyway,
I guess.
So how's it going, internet? How's it going, Ricky? You doing all right? I haven't seen you in a while, especially at Wednesday Night Fights. Did you go this week?
No, I didn't. I actually had to wake up early this morning, so couldn't go.
Bummer. Go ahead.
I kind of wish I did though, because there's a lot of players that we haven't seen in a while showed up yesterday. So
I didn't even look at the bracket. Who are other than Gaguni? Who are the people you're talking about?
Well, MIK won. Cynic showed up and he lost to
Cynic.
like Tasty Steve.
Bummer.
And Tasty Steve showed up. And
okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a nice turnout. I mean, if we would have showed up, then it would have been a bigger bracket than.
You know what?
All the other games.
Actually, if you think about it, I missed out. You missed out. Rip wasn't there. Who else wasn't there? I mean, I feel like there was
James.
James. Okay, so that if you add those 4 regulars that belong there, but for whatever circumstances didn't go, that would make what? It was 14 people. That puts it up to 18 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not bad. That's not bad. 18 people is not too shabby, if you ask me. Especially when Injust Ass is only getting 20 or whatever, right? So that's not too bad. A couple topics to talk about on the show. There's some Tekken shit going on this weekend. There's a big-ass Tekken weekend. First of all, we got to talk about it. It's on your screen right here. The Global Championship is this weekend. I don't know what day it's on. Is it on Saturday or Sunday, Ricky?
It's probably going to be on Friday if for us in the U.S.
What do you
because it's
mean
in
it's gonna be
Korea.
on Friday?
Like Friday night because that'll probably be around Saturday whatever for in Korea. You know what I mean?
Really?
I think so.
Well, that,
Don't quote me on that though.
that kind of sucks. But Friday at 10 p.m. The chat's saying, "Damn, that sucks." But I mean, either way, that's cool. So make sure you check that out. Do we know if it's Mad Cats that's streaming it or Cafe Id?
Uh, I I heard it was Cafe Id, and then I heard there was Mad Cats, but I think it's the last I heard it was Cafe Id.
Huh. Well, it's one of those two, internet, so make sure you guys tune in. It looks like from the chat, it looks like it's going to be Cafe Id streaming it, but I think Spooky is there, and he's probably going to make sure they don't fuck it up because, you know, they're scrubs over there. They just know how to play Tekken and, you know, do karaoke and shit. So Spooky's going to be over there watching over the, you know, Cafe Id guys, making sure they don't fuck up. And Markman is also going to be there because Mad Cats is an official sponsor or supporter or something, right, of this tournament. So that's really cool of Mark to be out there, you know, supporting Tekken. That's badass. The other thing this weekend is Filthy Cup. I really wish that didn't happen on the same weekend because we could really use this kind of hype for Tekken on multiple weekends. But whatever the reason is, who knows? Who gives a shit? Filthy Cup is this weekend. And I was watching Fab's stream earlier this week, and there was a couple people there, and they were talking about how they're all planning on going. So that's cool. Look, sounds like it's going to be at least a pretty solid regional major over there. I don't know who's traveling. I haven't heard. Do you know if anyone from here is going?
I doubt it. I think the only people from the West Coast that want to travel for a tournament, I think is they're looking at NEC. But Filthy
Okay.
Cups doesn't seem likely, and I don't think anyone's from at least from either like Cali's going.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't even know that this was happening this weekend. I
Filthy
mean,
Cup?
yeah, what the fuck? When it was first announced, it was announced as such a big event. Like, yeah, the guys, the Big E guys, and like the guys who run Final Round are involved, and it's like they're naming it after Filthy Rich, and everyone's gobbling on his schlong and whatever. And I didn't even hear about it. Like, it just crept up. I didn't even know it was on its way. But yeah, you know, I'm excited to watch it, and hopefully, you said Bifu Teki is streaming that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone on the internet, I heard that's a one-day event this Saturday. So it's going to be this Friday for the Global Championship. And good luck, by the way, to Mr. Naps. I think he's already on his way to Korea right now. So I said it on my stream earlier. Could you imagine, first of all, if Mr. Naps won that tournament? That would be the funniest shit ever. Because America would be the best, first of all, at Tekken Tag 2. And I would say we could, as a country, collectively quit competing. That would be so sick. Just we all like, yeah, we won. It's cool. We just play casuals now, like Bronson. Fuck it, whatever. But, I mean,
The best part too is like we're gonna say like, yeah, dude, look at Jimmy. He owned up all the Koreans, all the Japanese players, and he never travels. So you're never gonna play him unless you go to NorCal or Evo.
you go to his house. That's the only way it's gonna happen. But that would be fantastic. And if Jimmy J Tran wins, I said it earlier, I will kiss him. I'm gonna kiss him on the mouth.
You should show that picture of Jimmy. I mean,
Oh yeah, we got to do that. We were gonna talk about some of the players. These guys, these guys are too good, man. These guys are too good. Who are these guys?
dude, there's so many people from like countries like we don't even know
Yeah,
about.
Solo
like,
is totally allowed, right? This guy's a
Yeah.
solo Fang player. T5
Yeah,
DR is when he started.
I think he's the only solo player in the entire tournament.
Man, I gotta say, Flying Wonky, this guy is a hero. Everyone on the internet should be sucking this guy's dick. If you're a Tekken fan, this guy's a hero. I was just looking through my own website, and I was like, man, this is a really good post. Man, look at this. It has like, when did they start playing? I was like, man, this is so cool. I was like, tight, man. So yeah, Wonky, that guy is a fucking hero, man. But look at this cool post. It has pictures of all the qualifiers. It has like when they started playing. I met this guy. You know this guy right here? I think I've met this guy. This guy that the cursor's on, this fat guy. Who is this guy?
He's the Australian qualifier. Oh, not Australia. Wait, yeah, Australia
Yeah, but did I
qualified.
meet him? Did he go to Evo? Not the
I
last Evo, but the Evo before that.
maybe I don't know.
He
Oh,
looks
he's.
very familiar.
I'm not reading. I'm trying to read it, but I don't think anything in there is about Evo.
Well, anyway,
No, 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 no. No, you know where you might have met him?
where?
SBO.
I doubt that. I distinctly remember someone that looks similar to him at Evo. But anyway, regardless, if it's that guy, he was a really nice guy, and I hope, wish him luck. He's not going to beat Jimmy J, but other than that, I wish him luck. And, that's cool, man. That's really sick. I'm excited to see what happens here. This is, this thing about the solo mode, it's another topic that is totally, unrelated, but... people, I think we should really tell Via to unban solo mode. What do you think, Ricky?
I mean, we could do it without him even knowing. I mean,
Yeah,
solo
really.
mode shouldn't even.
Yeah, fuck it. What am I even saying? You're right. I apologize. Fuck it. Yeah, solo mode is unbanned. So I guess it could become an issue when it comes to the stream. But at that point, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
Who cares?
Yeah.
We're
But
just
I
doing
think
our own
I
anyways.
really do think we should unban solo mode. I was watching a match that Wonky put up. I'll show you guys that shit too while we're at it. I mean, we're on the internet, right? But I was watching this match right here. These matches, the Team Sexy Zone matches. Man, these matches are really good too, internet. I mean, I don't know how much you guys like playing Tekken Tag 2, but this was... Oh, son of a matches are really good. Okay, there we go. Every time I open a new page, it's gonna fucking start doing that. Piece of shit. Anyway, these matches are really good, and there is a solo Dragunov player in this that actually, does really well. And I'm thinking, why the hell don't we just unban that shit? At this point, who gives a fuck, right? Does anybody? Do you think anybody is gonna give a shit about that?
Maybe the guys in New York or something, the ones that have opinions about everything.
What do you mean? What do they have to do with anything? All the time they spent at Wednesday night fights?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
What does that
I mean,
have to
people.
do with anything?
Someone's listen. Someone's gonna complain, but in the end, fuck them.
Really? I mean, at this point, with 14-man tournaments, yeah, fuck them. Really, I agree. I think that I want solo mode allowed. I think it might be interesting, even though it sucks and it's more boring. Perhaps the fact that it sucks might make it less boring. What are your thoughts on that, Ricky? Because I was watching this match, at the end of it. Man, I was thinking to myself, maybe it's because I'm a Dragunov player and I was rooting for the guy, but I was thinking, man, fuck these guys up. I was like really cheering for him, and he really fucks those guys up. And they got a real fair team with Tag Assault, and they're doing hundreds of damage, and he's just fucking doing shitty ass combos and just, damage. I don't know. I personally, as a spectator, I was enjoying it. And maybe the fact that it sucks could be fun. It could be like the underdog, like rooting for the underdog. I don't know. I think it's worth experimenting.
I don't think it's bad. I mean, realistically in America, we don't even have players that play solo mode anyway, so it's just a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we should definitely unban it. That's it. The gavel has fallen. It's unbanned. Anyway, the other thing I was going to talk about, so I asked the internet again about ideas on things to discuss, on the show. And one of these guys, Reggie Ups, this is the second time he's asked for this. He's asked, how do you play the player? How do you... Because, we talked a lot about, and I talked with Jimmy about this, and last week I talked about this, but it's a good idea if you're this type of a knowledgeable player to play against the character, because, there isn't much anyone can do beyond the game's limitations. But,
Yeah.
On the other end of the spectrum, there is the idea of playing the player, and that is also a huge factor of fighting games. Like, for example, I was watching Alex Valle play against some other Ryu player yesterday, and, this was at Wednesday Night Fights. The other Ryu player was super shitty. I mean, before I even continue, I'm going to explain that. But Charles and I were both watching them play, and this guy, this Ryu player, let's call him Joey Jojo. So Joey Jojo was just...
Junior Shabadoo.
Junior Shabadoo was doing good jump-ins in the beginning of the first game. He was jumping over the fireballs. He was jumping over crouching roundhouse. He would hit with the jump-in and fuck the combo up, but that's irrelevant. The point is that Valle got hit by a bunch of jump-ins in the beginning of the first game. Now, if the guy didn't suck ass, perhaps he would have converted those jump-ins into combos and won that entire game, right? But the point is that Vaya eventually realized this guy's rhythm, and he was just fucking him up over and over for jumping, right? And I'm thinking, okay, you at a certain point, it's not really relevant what character he's using. Like yesterday, Vaya didn't really give a shit that this guy is using Ryu because he doesn't even really know how to use Ryu to his fullest potential. So treating that guy as Ryu at his fullest potential is really not a good idea. I mean, you're overshooting your opponent, So playing against the player is a great idea, especially if you feel as though your opponent perhaps isn't as good as you, or maybe isn't ready or prepared to your level. And one great way to play the player is to have pre-game ideas on how to obtain information. So when you walk into a match, it's a good idea to have kind of like a playbook on how am I going to figure out if this guy does this or doesn't do this. And the best way to do that is to play the odds. You have to play a lot of matches and go by human tendencies. Like, I'll give you a couple examples because it's kind of hard to articulate this, without examples. One example I'd say is when I'm trying to figure out if somebody it not only knows how to, but is actually able to, in the clutch, duck under the third hit of back 4-2-1 for Dragunov. What I do is I do back 4-2, and I dead button the 2, and I watch their character. If they ducked, then I know that if I had done that 1, if I hadn't dead buttoned the 2, then he would have ducked under the high, and I would have been launched. So this is like a play. This is like a strat, a play. And when I do this on a new opponent, and I promise you, I do it on all brand new opponents. This is like, you must do this against a brand new opponent, no matter who it is. If it's a player that I already know, then I already know whether or not they duck that or whether or not they will in the clutch. And I can gauge that. But if it's a brand new player, this is like a play. This is something I do. Another thing that I think I do, and I've been criticized for it in the past, but time and time again, you can't argue with human tendency, and that is with Dragunov at the wall. If I do a up forward 3 and they block it, depending on their character, of course, but if they block it, I'm usually gonna duck while standing, because most people, when they block a while standing 3 at the wall, they want to jab afterwards. I mean, it's just like the natural thing to do. And the only people who don't actually swing that jab out are the advanced players or the highly defensive players. So basically, when I walk into a match, if I don't know anything about my opponent, I'm going to play those odds. I'm going to say that this guy is most likely to do a jab after my up forward 3 at the wall. And, of course, if let's say, because if I'm going to do a wall standing, right after that, it really depends on what the opponent's character is. Like, for example, if they have Lars, they have 14 frame punish, so I can't use the shoulder in that case, ideally. And, and so on and so forth. The point is that this is a play I have for obtaining information. And what you do is you just run these plays. And the way you come up with these plays, in my opinion at least, is you just go by human tendencies. Do you have any examples like this, Ricky, on how you obtain player information?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I always do it through a match-by-match basis. If it's a tournament, you don't really have that much time, so you have to kind of take it round by round.
That's really what I'm talking about. Tournament, game.
Oh, okay. Well, if in a tournament, like, let's see. The one time I played someone brand new in a tournament was at Devastation, the one we haven't gotten paid for. I played Omega, the Zaslamel player.
I remember him. He played Lars, right?
Yeah, he played Lars. Mm-hmm. And I remember he owned the shit out of me the first game and almost beat me, basically. But I remember during that match, I could feel like I just had a good idea of how he was playing and how he would panic. Like his panic move. He would have certain panic moves in certain situations, and I saved it for the third game for the win because I knew it was gonna get me a clutch round. And all it was when I hit him with 1-1-2 block, because I knew he had the reactions of 1-1-2. Okay, he's gonna dole something out because he's at plus a 4-3. That's what he was gonna do, and so I blocked it and punished it for him. And I think things like that, you just have to almost like you have to test the opponent almost test their knowledge just
But
to
do
know
you
what.
those that's what I'm asking you. So you know how you're saying you have to test their knowledge. Do you have the tests already printed out and you're handing them out to your student, or is it like on the fly?
Most of the times for me, it's on the fly because I don't have any like particular setups or anything like that. At least not that I can think of right now that would like test or not, especially with like a character like Ganryu. No one knows him anyway, so there's not much knowledge I have. I can just abuse things with him.
No.
All I have to do is really just like if I hit him with the low palm and they can't react to it, I know that's gonna be free all day unless they guess.
Yeah, but dude, you know how you're saying nobody knows him anyways? Well, that's what I'm talking about. This is going way over your head. If nobody knows Ganryu, then your primary goal as a Ganryu user should be to
Is
figure out
to
what your opponent knows.
Why would I care what they know? All I want to know is what they don't know, and then
Well,
I'm
if
just
you
gonna
know what
abuse
they
that.
know, you know what they don't know.
Well, I'm looking at it the opposite way. If I know what they don't know, I'm just gonna do that. I don't have to worry about what they know.
Yeah,
Why
but
do
you
I
have
care?
to. That's what I meant, shithead. That's what I meant. Okay, that's what I meant. You got to figure out what they don't know. How do you figure out what they don't know? Is it predetermined, or is it something that I mean, obviously it's fucking predetermined. Is what I'm getting at. Tell me what I want to hear. You know it is. When you do something, you test them. Like, for example, I'll give you an example for yourself because you're too retarded to think of your own example. But what about all those things where you do with Bob, where you do something safe and then you duck while standing too? Isn't that something you do?
That's just me being smart.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, you're an idiot, okay? You're an idiot.
Oh no, okay, no. That one. If I did, a lot of times I tested with down forward 2 with Bob. This was a Tekken 6 strat, and it's like it became a bad habit. It's just because I would do down forward 2. A lot of people would like to jab afterwards because they think it's unsafe. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of shit like that,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm talking about. There is tons of shit like that. You do the thing for your character that is designed for that character. Like Bob, down forward 2. A lot of people will duck after that because people see a down forward 2. Naturally, depending on the level of player, their instinct is to throw out a jab. You see the jab while standing 2 and bickety bam. They're up in the air and you're doing a combo. This is what I'm talking about. Rixta is 4 steps behind me. But that's irrelevant. The point is that we caught him up. He's on the level now, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Personally, I think that every character has a decent way to, with minimal risk, whether it be dead buttoning or shoulder pumping like Alex Valle or whatever, with minimal risk, there should be a way for you to obtain the opponent's information on the opponent's knowledge of your character. If they are lacking something essential, then just like Ricky said, you're going to just do that over and over, abuse and spam that until they realize that this is going to cost you the tournament match. I mean, it can be anything from character knowledge to skill. Like some people, when they panic, like Ricky said, that Omega guy, when he panics, he does something, so Ricky chilled. Or some people, they duck. Some people do other shit. It's information you have to obtain. And that reminds me, Koff Tekken, by the way, who I think has already had a kid. Hopefully everything's cool with him. I haven't talked to him, but congratulations, Dong. I think your child has been born at this point. But he told me that when he was talking to Nin, while Nin was here for Evo, Nin told him that in Nin's opinion, by the end of the second round, you should have obtained at least 2 or 3 little pieces of information about your opponent. Not about their character, about your opponent. As in, is he able to break throws? Is he good in the clutch when you put the pressure on him? What's he going to do? Is he going to duck? Whatever. Those little pieces of information. So this is what Nin thinks, that at the end of the second round, you should have already obtained 2 to 3 important pieces of information about your opponent. Now, this is not necessarily stuff that you should actively think about while you're playing. You shouldn't just be like, okay, this is one. Look for the second thing. It's not like that. It should come organically. But the point is that you should not only be watching your opponent to see what he naturally tells you, like for example, maybe he's impatient. If you let him, he'll just fuck up eventually. Some people are like that, and whatever. Also, it's important to have, at least in my opinion, to have those setups like the Bob down forward 2 duck thing, or the up forward 3 duck by the wall thing for Dragunov, or dead buttoning the last hit of a string to see if they know it. Jinpachi's an excellent example too. If I do wall standing 4-4, I'm almost always dead buttoning the third hit. And if they, show it respect. If they didn't attack, maybe next time I'm going to use it. Maybe because they're going to think, oh, he stopped at the tsunami kicks. You know, these are all things that information you can obtain about your opponent. And if you're sharp enough and if you're paying close enough attention, it can really be just extremely pivotal to your small period of time you have. In 2 out of 3, it's no time. You have no time. So you have to obtain as much information as possible. And these kinds of little pieces, they seem like little dingleberries of information. They can't really make a difference. But, oh, man, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys a story. So when I was in France playing Soul Calibur 2 in the World Tournament, the team tournament was the day before the singles tournament. And at this time, I was a huge sandbagger. I was the king of sandbaggers. So basically, Mick, who's from Tennessee, one of the best Soul Calibur players ever, he was just bugging the fuck out of me to play me. He was just bugging me. He was like, Aris, oh, come on, dog. Come on, player. We wanted to play with me, you know? He kept on bugging me to play him. And I was like, I didn't want to play him. But I didn't say I don't want to play you. I just didn't want to play him because I was sandbagging him. So I kept saying, I'm tired, or I want to go get some pizza or a baguette or whatever. We were in France, so I was just doing that shit. And, he kept bugging me. After the team tournament on Saturday, I couldn't shake him any longer. He came to my fucking room, knocked on my door, and I was already ready to sleep. He wanted to play me, right? He insisted. So he sits down, he plays Sofitia against me, and we play maybe a 1st to 5 or whatever. I'm not really trying that hard. He's kicking the shit out of me, of course, because I'm sandbagging. And I realized something. First of all, I realized he's abusing the fuck out of Sofitia's back B, right? And I realized, damn, this guy's kicking the shit out of me. If I play Mick tomorrow, I'm going to lose, basically. So that night, of course, I didn't go to sleep right after that. I ended up with Tidy Whitey, who was staying in my same hotel room in France. With Tidy Whitey, we went to practice mode, and we just tested that move out. And I discovered that there was a move that I had that would go right through that move if they collided at the same time. So that plus all the other little things that I noticed Mick was doing, because of that little session that I had with Tidy Whitey that night, and because Mick insisted on coming over and playing me that night, that's the reason I beat him. I mean, I genuinely can say that if he hadn't done that, I don't think I would have beaten him. And the way this ties into what we were talking about is he basically did what Nin was saying you have to do in 2 rounds. He did that for me in the comfort of my own home. He was just like, he walked into my home, and I'm over here, Sleepy McGee, like not giving a fuck about these matches, and he's over here trying to show me how good he is. Like, he just let his pride get to him, I guess, and he was just kicking the shit out of me relentlessly, just fucking me up. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, man, he gave up, he spilled the beans. The beans were everywhere, because up until that tournament, I really didn't know too much about Sofitia. So basically, the point is, obtaining information is extremely important, and don't just give it up, first of all. And secondly, if someone else is giving it up for you, fucking eat that shit up with a spoon, dude, please. It's so important to record the information. And it's like Ricky said, it's tough in a small tournament match, but whatever information you can get is really important. You got to pay attention. You have anything else to add to that, Ricky?
Well, also, if like say you find something or some things, that you realize like, oh, like this guy doesn't know this, and this, right? Then at that point, like at least for me, I go into autopilot where I don't think about anything I'm doing. I just do it, because if my reads are correct and they don't know how to deal with, a handful of things, then you don't have to think about the match. You can just play and win easily without even, fatiguing your own brain. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize too, is that even though you're just sitting down playing a fucking video game, it's still kind of fatiguing, especially in a long tournament.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you need to like just take it in those easy matches, and save it for the times where you play someone that's does know this, and this, and you have to figure out, okay, what doesn't he know? You have to spend all your time on that. So it's definitely one of those things where it's like autopilot is a good thing if you know when to use it.
Yeah, autopilot is an interesting topic, and someone else mentioned that in the the comments on Twitter about what to talk about. Autopilot is actually something that's really, really important, but you can't rely on it on everything.
Right,
Autopilot
of
is
course not.
only good when it comes to the rules. If when it comes to the rules of the game, the things that you can write down, you should apply those to your muscle memory. Your hands should be able to do those things on their own. But that's only the stuff that you can literally write down. Like, for example, some days, some people can't break throws, even though these people are great throw breakers. Rip is an example of this, and MYK is a good example of this too. Both of these players, historically, I would say, are very good at breaking throws visually. But some days, and when you catch them on one of these days, these are the days when you should throw the fuck out of them. But some days they really suck ass at breaking throws. Not only do they suck ass at breaking throws some days, but they know when you're throwing them, they themselves know that I'm good at breaking throws. I'm not breaking them today. So that fucks them up. That gets them flustered. I've seen this time and time again with several players. So that type of a read or that type of a thing is not something you can write down in the book of how to beat Rip and MYK. You can't write that down. But it's good that day. So that kind of stuff, you don't want to autopilot that stuff. Because if you autopilot throwing Rip and MYK, the next time you autopilot that shit, boom, it's not going to look good for you. They're going to be hiding the spice bottle. So
yeah, of course. The autopilot thing is just for like when you're playing somebody and that day they're just not gonna beat me. It's like it's just like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There are certain players that I know that if I autopilot against, like if I think that I'm better than them and I autopilot against them, I get fucked up and sent to losers real quick.
Yeah.
And I know it happens. So
yeah,
it's gonna happen.
I think autopilot is really important, but I think it's just only important for those things that you can count on. Like, boom, this is minus 14. Better do that jet uppercut every time. That should be autopilot. Because if your brain is actually having to process these things, it's like you're wasting energy. You're wasting precious fuel. This is my opinion. I don't know if this is how you feel or how other people feel, but personally, I think that, punishers or character information like ducking the second hit of something or low parrying the low of Junkyard or delay hop kicking back 1-2 whatever for Steve, all that shit, it should just come naturally. Your eyes see it and they send a signal to your hands. There's no like pit stop at the brain thinking like, when I duck this, do I have to do this or do I have to do that, or fucking is that minus 13 or 12? That pit stop is what fucks you up. And then what ends up happening is you get fucking hop kicked or something because your punish didn't come out right, or you let something launch punishable go with a down forward 1 punish or a 1-2 punish. Everyone's done that before and everyone fucking hates it when that happens. Lightning screw is an example. If I block a lightning screw and that shit just goes, I jab and the jabs whiff over the recovering Lars player's head, I mean, that's just like, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. And it's because my eyes, the thought took a pit stop at my brain. It stopped there. I had to think. Instead, you should just be doing it. Boom. You see this? Involuntary muscle reaction. And if you can't do that, that's what the record function is for. And that's what your amigos are for. And that's what perhaps online is for. Because even if when you're online, even if you don't do it at the right timing, at least one thing you can do is do the right move. And just chalk it up to fuck, I hate online, I fucking hate Subway, whatever, move on. But at least in the clutch, when you blocked it, when you were pissed about online, you do the right move, the right thing. That's what you need to go on autopilot more, for. Anyway, I'm thirsty, so say something while I drink this water, Ricky.
Everyone should go look at Mr. Naps's picture on avoidingthepuddle.com.
That's a good one.
Because that picture is hilarious.
Yeah, that is.
Because he's like 2 pictures above that like 9-year-old Filipino kid, and it is amazing.
He's the guy that the 9-year-old Filipino kid needs to watch out for. Let's find this shit. Hold on, where is it?
Go back to that page again.
I'm going to it. Where is that shit? Oh, it's at the bottom, right? Man, look at all this, dude. Wonky is a legend.
Go back to that page again. Where did he get these pictures from?
I don't know where he got these pictures. Right? I have this fucking. There we go. Okay, where did you get these pictures from? I don't know. I don't know where he gets any of this shit from. It's kind of cute. Boom. Look at this guy. This is who we are sending to. He looks like a fucking bad guy from Die Hard 1. You know, he looks like he shoots at Bruce Willis at the end of the movie. You know,
I'm pretty sure he was like an extra in Rush Hour, dude. Like...
Yeah, he's one of the guys that fucking Mel Gibson kicks the shit out of while he's running after. He's chasing after Jet Li in Rush Hour 4. Is that Rush Hour?
What?
No, that's Lethal Weapon.
Rush Hour 4. You not only were none of the stars.
Mel Gibson was not in Rush Hour, and they never made a Rush Hour 4. So that was wrong in a few different ways. You know, I'm getting old, man. I haven't watched movies in a while. Regardless, we're sending this guy. You guys better watch out because he has a serious methamphetamines addiction based on... We were with him this day. He did not look this bad.
The camera is not nice to him, apparently.
I guess. I mean, I spent this entire day with him. He looked as handsome and as charming as he ever has. But, man, that camera really caught him. And
then you can show the little Filipino kid way at the bottom. That's like probably half the age of Jimmy. No, that's a Taiwanese guy.
Snake.
Or,
Taiwanese?
Yeah, Taiwan guy.
Who's that guy? Who are these people?
Huh.
Oh, I like that guy. That's cool. Anyway, who, that guy?
No, one more. Keep going.
There's no
that
more.
Kid.
It's just comments.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Okay. Cool. How old is he? How do you know how old he is?
Apparently someone said he's like 12 or something.
This is going to be a crazy tournament. I can't believe it's at 10 p.m. on Friday. That's such a bad time. Well, it's not. Hopefully, it gets a lot of views. Internet, if you have any means of watching this, I really recommend you do because it's going to be dope. This is going to be a crazy tournament because not only is it going to be dope because we're sending a player from here over there and we're going to have all these great Korean and Japanese players, but we're also throwing these crazy players out at them. Like, you know, Taiwan, Philippines, these places are going to be good. Australia, I'm sure some of these players are going to be good. And we all know, everyone in the chat room, everyone watching who knows this game knows that there's always that shit that could happen. You never know. So throwing all these players together, I think is going to be like a really interesting and a really cool event. So I'm really looking forward to watching it. And again, a big thanks to Markman. What the fuck is so funny, Ricky?
I just clicked that link BL posted.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's ooh. No, I'm not gonna look it up. I love links. I love links so much. I just want to click them. But anyway, I was saying big thanks to Markman and Mad Cats for supporting this because, you know, all you Tekken fans out there aren't a lot of people that are, you know, as far as companies and sponsors and stuff that really look at Tekken anymore. So you guys really got to show appreciation to Adark and Mad Cats. Both of them, they really have shown that they really like Tekken. They support the Tekken scene, and they don't really care about how Hollywood Tekken is. So yeah, check that shit out. One of the last things I wanted to talk about was that, you know, a lot of people on the Twitter comments and shit, they suggested that we talk about how you get new players to play, and it seems like Tekken is a dying game. You know, what do we do about that and all this? And yeah, that topic seems whatever. I'm not really into getting people to do shit. You know, I'm not that kind of sign this petition kind of a guy. If you want to play Tekken, fucking play Tekken. If you don't want to play Tekken, play something else. You know, whatever. Just, you know, I don't care. I like fighting games. I like Tekken. I'm going to play it. That's my attitude. But what it sent me in this direction of thinking, right? And what it was, you know, okay, a lot of people aren't necessarily into competing. And, you know, more than I thought, actually, because the other day, as I mentioned earlier, I was watching Fab's stream, and I saw, you know, what's his name? Juan was there. The Real Law was there, right? And, of course, he was, like, you know, talking on the mic and talking shit and stuff. And he was spending a lot of time complaining about Tekken, too, as well, you know? And I was thinking, like, I didn't expect for him to have so many gripes with the game. And then I was thinking, like, okay, what about Fab, you know? And his general mood seems to be that way too. And then, like, you know, I'm looking at, like, Anakin, right? I didn't even know, but apparently Anakin has quit playing Tekken. Did you hear about this, Ricky?
Yeah, I read his little Facebook post.
Could you fill me in? Because last I heard, he was all about fucking a weekly show that was gonna be about all these keeping trill shits and, having people on and all this shit, weekly tune in. It's all about Tekken and they're gonna do all these sideways hats and all this bullshit. What happened to that? What happened to that?
All he said was like, he's tired of playing Tekken for now. I mean, anyone that retires like that is never really retired.
Well,
They'll retire.
that's first of all, I agree. Anyone who openly makes a public announcement of their retirement from Tekken, that is since the beginning of my career or whatever you want to call it as a fighting game player. Anyone who has said that in a public forum or anywhere has been a D-bag in my eyes. I mean, what is the point? If you really fucking love Tekken, why would you go and say that? I mean, just don't fucking play it. You think the Tekken community has you under a microscope saying like, oh, Anakin's not playing right now, he must have retired. Nobody gives a fuck if you retired or not. You don't have to go out and say that. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it, especially someone like him, because he had this show that he was putting on, and it was like, okay, Tekken is kind of like a scene that's kind of not doing so great right now. I'm going to do my best to, do that shit. And I don't blame him for stopping the show. Let me just make that clear. I don't blame him, because doing a show every week sucks ass, butt cheeks, through a straw, the worst, but, I don't blame him, as I mentioned. But the thing is, you don't have to go and say that you're retiring, especially when it's probably not, it's just like a whim thing. You're not really, who the fuck retires from something that doesn't have a retirement plan? You're not retiring. It's a fucking game, and you still like it. It's not like a switch flips. I understand people have problems in their life and shit, but generally speaking, I just thought that was a bonehead move by him. I wish he didn't do that. Because trust me, if that were allowed, I would have retired months ago, man. You know how fucking much I hate losing to you, Ricky? I'm going to fuck you up next time I see you. I promise you. I promise you. The next time I play you, I'm going to fuck you up bad.
Man, you've been holding that in.
I have been. I haven't left my fucking house in like a week now. Tomorrow I haven't left my house in a week, dude. I'm going nuts. Charles was saying...
flying
yeah, I'm like... I'm going fucking nuts, dude. I'm telling you, this ankle of mine is killing me, and next time I see you, I'm going to push your shit in. Anyway, all that being said and done, I don't know I'm not really about it. I don't know how to get new people to play. Maybe you should ask Alex Valle. He's all about that shit, and that's the funniest thing about it. Back in the day, Alex Valle was one of the most difficult people to approach as a new player, like he was the one that was like, I don't want to put him under the bus, but he was an asshole, he was a real asshole, and that's part of what made him, Alex Valle. He was the guy who was really good at fucking every fighting game, and he deserved it. He earned it, but he's the man to talk to about saving communities and fucking that shit, because he's all about that philanthropy, whatever the fuck it is. So I don't know. Don't ask me that. I'm sorry. I don't know how to save games. All I know is that I enjoy Tekken. I have no urge to make a Facebook and go on course Tekken Academy and say that I quit. But let's face it, the honest to God truth is, this game really frustrates me a lot. That doesn't mean I don't like it. I just think it's just frustrating. And some things are frustrating, some things that you like are frustrating, like girlfriends or relationships like that. You get fucking frustrated sometimes, but, you still do it. You got to do it. It's cool. Whatever. It's cool. You got to do it. What else am I going to do if I don't play Tekken? What else is there to play? Injustice? I'm not going to play Injustice, I might play Injustice. You gotta play Tekken. It's a cool ass game. Personally, I think that Tekken Tag 2 is an amazingly cool game. Cool is the key word. But as a competitive game, I think it's just bitter. Overdone. It's like, it's good. It's like your favorite meal. Those times when you order Domino's pizza, and you know how they put that garlic stuff on the crust? You know what I'm talking about, right, Ricky? Sometimes they don't put the garlic stuff on the crust. Charles knows what I'm talking about. We've had conversations about this.
That would ruin the pizza.
Right, but it's still a pizza. It's fucking pepperoni, cheese, sauce. It still tastes good, but I mean, where is the fucking garlic stuff? Where is it? That's what I'm talking about. It's like, maybe they just forgot the garlic crust. Maybe they forgot the wall tech. Maybe they forgot the, whatever problem there is in the game, whatever, issues you have, it's still cool. It's still a really fun game. I still love watching it. And, I just think that it's to make it a good tournament game, you just have to work a little hard. And all that being said, it makes me wonder what is more important when it comes to developing a fighting game. Are the players like us, the tournament players, the competitors more important? Or are the players like, that are never going to even play versus mode, or perhaps don't have a scene and are never going to enter a tournament? Are those players more important? Now, years ago, I would have said, obviously, the person that is not a competitor is more important because it's about really selling copies of the game and making money. We're like, us as competitors should be secondary to the developer, right? That's what we used to always say. But at this point, based on the way the fighting game scene and all the fighting games are evolving, I'm starting to think a little bit otherwise. I'm starting to think that unless you have Superman and Batman, or even perhaps Ryu and Ken as characters in your game, you might have to focus a little more on the competitive scene. Because if you don't focus on the competitive scene, what's going to sell your game? Like, let's look at Tekken Tag 2, for example. The game itself obviously doesn't have enough of a... I'm talking about initially, when the game launched, The game itself didn't have enough appeal or draw to get random scrub jobbers to buy it, right? So what needs to happen here? What needs to happen with the Tekken series? Because obviously, Heihachi and Jin and Kazuya being on the cover of a game is not enough to get, little Timmy and little Rixta to beg their moms to fucking buy them a copy of Tekken. That's obviously not enough. However, when you look at games like Injust Ass and Street Fighter, clearly Ryu and Ken and Batman and Superman are enough to sell copies of the game. So, and I'm asking you this, Ricky, what do you think? I mean, for the future of Tekken, do you think that they have to overhaul, or, do you think that they have to either, I don't even know how to phrase this question, because if that's the case, if what I said right now is true, Jin, Heihachi, and Kazuya are not cutting it. So what's going to cut it? What is going to sell just based on, hey, Rixta, hey, little Rixta, what do you want me to buy you for your birthday, this year? And you look up at that big wall of games and everyone at school is talking about Call of Duty or whatever. What is going to be on that cover that's going to make you want to buy it? I can't even think of what could be on that cover, right?
Yeah. Well, you said it best. It's like, Ryu and Ken have that, like, when you see it, you think of, like, Street Fighter, you think of Hadouken, you think of Shoryuken. It's like, these are all things that you can instantly identify with. You don't instantly identify, Heihachi or Kazuya with Electric and God Fist.
Absolutely.
That's not. That's. So I think with Tekken, like, Tekken might have, like you said, Tekken might have to go the way of appealing only to competitors, because outside of commercials and things like that, the most like, what's the word? Something about showing people on streams.
You're like a wordsmith. You're a linguist.
Yes,
Amazing.
definitely.
A poet.
It's like that's the that's the only exposure Tekken is getting is through streams and like things like Evolution and basically tournaments. And so the only way people are going to see it is through a competitive way, Yeah. Not too many people play Tekken. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a good handful of people that play Tekken for, the cosplaying and the,
that's
the story
very
mode.
Small number, it seems. Perhaps as small of a number as, let's say, the number of people who actually compete in, let's say, Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
yeah. So I don't think I think they could branch out further if they just got more involved in the competitive scene. But that all of it just comes down to how good the game is, really.
Yeah, but I'm not even just talking about that. I'm talking about, okay, there's two aspects of a game. There's the aspect of how good the game is, and then there's the aspect of being able to sell the game regardless of how good it is. Like, when I was working at Super Arcade, there was this black dude that came in. He was a cool guy, and he fucking hated fighting games, but when Injustice came out, he was like, dude, let me get on that Injustice. And he was playing the story mode like it was just fucking riveting, the feel-good hit of the summer, at the edge of his seat. But he hates fighting games. We got to figure out what a fighting game needs to get that guy interested. Because obviously that guy hates fighting games, you know, and those are the guys that really make them money. I mean, Injustice was one of the biggest fighting games ever, right? But do you think any of the people, like the biggest part of that fraction of, you know, of the pie, do you think those guys are fighting game players? No, they're just the fucking random guys, you know? Random people. They're not fighting game players. They're not even going to understand what a good fighting game or a bad fighting game is. So it's really interesting. It really makes me wonder. And, you know, that reminds me, a few years ago, I think it might have been the first time I met Harada, and I was talking to him about the record function in Tekken 6. And I was telling him what a huge fuck-up it was to not have the record function in Tekken 6. I was really emphasizing it, right? And he was like, oh, you know, it's not really, like, a good idea. We don't like to charge for DLC, is what he said at the time. And we wouldn't want to charge you for a record function, and we can't afford to release a record function. And I was trying to say, like, I was trying to explain to him how important it is. Like, this is super important. And, you know, my thinking was that if you don't consider the competitive players, if the competitors don't matter to you at all, who's going to carry your game until the next game comes out? I remember saying this on a podcast with MYK 3 years ago. You know, who's going to, like, support your game once it gets old, once it drops off the charts and Assassin's Creed Part 5 comes out and, you know, pushes your ass way off of the sales charts? You know, who's going to give a fuck about Tekken? We are. We're going to be the ones that care about Tekken. We're going to be the ones that are relevant. When someone goes to Google and they type Tekken Tag 2 Paul, they're going to go to one of these sites. They're going to end up at Core's Tekken Academy or whatever. And if they see a bunch of people who are, let's say, you know, retired or don't give a fuck, that's not a cool thing, right? Now, you may be thinking I'm going in the direction of, oh, you shouldn't speak badly about Tekken Tag 2, or, oh, you shouldn't publicly say you quit. I do think, to some extent, you shouldn't do that stuff publicly, but I still think you should be honest. My point really is the big underlying point. It's the job of the game developer to not make us pissed off, is my point. Don't make a shitty game and we'll fucking love it forever, you know? I mean, I'm over here talking about Soul Calibur 2 in these fucking storytelling things I'm doing on YouTube, and I feel, when I think about that game, I feel like this is still one of the best games. When I play that game, you've been over here, I've talked to you about it, Ricky. I still feel like it takes a huge dump all over almost every game that's come out since then. There is only a very few small handful of games that, in my opinion, are good, you know, actually good games. It really, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I'm just thinking about this whole thing and it's getting me all riled up and stressed out, you know? So basically, I'm going to end this topic, unless you have anything to add, with fuck it. How do you feel about it, Ricky?
Yeah, it sucks. Fuck it.
Yeah, I really feel that way. At the end, when you think about all this stuff about, like, you know, the next game, what's it going to be like? Are we going to like it? How are we going to get people to play? When you think about all this stuff, or at least when I think about all this stuff, I think to myself, you know what? It's just too much of a fucking hassle, too much stress. Who gives a shit? Just fucking play Tekken if you want to play Tekken. And if you don't want to play Tekken, I hope what you decide to play is another fighting game, because I like fighting games. And, you know, I've said it before. I've gone to EVO every year, regardless of whether or not I enter in one of the games that they have at EVO. It's just, I love fighting games. I love watching them. I love learning about them. It doesn't matter whether or not I play it. It's just something that I like. And if you like fighting games, pick one and play it. You don't like Tekken? Fuck you. Don't play Tekken. You don't have to bitch about it that much. Just don't play Tekken, you know? I mean, that's really just basically how I feel about it. Sorry I can't give you more advice on how to get new players to play, or maybe how to, like, you know, I don't know, start a scene or get things going. That's really not my expertise. And, I don't know, ask someone else. I'm sure there's a lot of resources out there for that, but, you know, I just really like Tekken. And, just because Tekken Tag 2 is not a, you know, home run derby for me, it doesn't mean that I don't like Tekken, and it doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop playing it. I enjoy it. I think it's cool, and I'm super fucking amped to watch Jimmy J this weekend. I just glanced over at the screen, and I'm super.
Just saw his.
Yeah. Well, yeah, his meth head face, meth head look. He's like a character from GTA and shit. Anyway.
He's Trevor with long hair.
Yeah, he's not quite that bad. That's me. Anyway, so you have a bitch for today?
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's been this was supposed to happen last week, but I gotta call two people bitches, and it's the two people that beat me at the Wednesday night fights last week, which were Just Frame James and Rip.
You can't call Just Frame James a bitch again. That's it.
No,
I'm cutting you off.
No. There's a good reason why I'm calling him a bitch.
All right, I'm listening.
And it's because it was revealed on Facebook that day Real Law posted a status update where he's like, I was watching Wednesday night fights and my setups got jacked again.
You gotta be kidding me.
So he's clearly...
Wait a minute.
No,
this
is true.
Right?
This is 100% true. So Real Law is saying that our law players in Cali have been jacking his strats this entire time. So in hindsight, I'm not even losing to Just Frame James and Rip. I'm losing to Real Law, who's obviously the biggest innovator of law since 1987. I mean, he's he said it himself. So yeah, those two guys are bitches because they can't beat me with their own strats. They have to use Real Law strats. Just saying.
Yeah, those guys are bitches. Stealing strategies? You mean to tell me that they stole Real Law strategies? They need to return those. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Return those to their rightful owner because when you steal a strategy from someone, they can't use it and win with it. You know that's how it works, right? So give those back to Real Law immediately because he is in desperate need of his own strategies. They have been stolen from right in front of him. And I agree with you. Those two are bitches. That is unacceptable. You can't steal someone else's strategies because then they're not going to have them anymore and will no longer be able to win and compete. You know? Cat face. Who did I call a bitch earlier in today's episode? Have you noticed I'm really riled up today? I'm going crazy being stuck in this fucking apartment, dude.
You need to get out.
My leg is such a bitch, dude. I'm just going to saw this piece of shit off and walk around with a bird on my shoulder from now on.
You can call your leg a bitch? You called Anakin a bitch, I think.
Oh, yeah. I guess I called him a bitch. I guess I'll call Anakin a bitch. I mean, I just really don't think it's necessary, because if I knew it wasn't against the rules to be a community pillar of the Tekken community and to quit, I would have quit years ago. Fuck this. I'd much rather just look at flowers and dilly-dally all day long, fucking jerking off on GTA 5 like, Charles. I'd love to do that. That sounds badass. But instead, I'm a Tekken player. I like Tekken, and I like fighting games. So, unnecessary. Unnecessary use of, quitting. I think that was unnecessary. All that shit being said and done, is there anything I'm forgetting? Follow Ricky on Twitter, Rick Steezy with 3 E's. Make sure you watch the global shit. I talked about that already. That's going to be streamed by Cafe Id. That's Friday at 10 p.m. Very essential that you watch that. I wish it wasn't such a bad slot. Saturday is going to be Filthy Cup. Make sure you watch that because hopefully Real Law, he's going there. Hopefully either he's come up with some new strats or perhaps he stole someone else's strats that are good or maybe he got his hands on some kind of a loner strat that he could use at this tournament. But hopefully...
He just might not play on stream because he's just afraid of getting his shit taken again.
That is a reasonable hypothesis you came up with. Maybe he just won't go. It's not worth it, You're putting your shit out in the open. People could just steal it. You know what I mean? And that's ridiculous. When strats get stolen, man, I'm really milking this one. I haven't talked shit to anyone in like a week, Ricky. I'm telling you, man, when I worked at Super Arcade, I got to vent this shit out. I'd see people and I'd be like, hey, look at this fucking asshole. And I'd talk shit. I haven't talked shit. It's like I have like shit talking blue balls or constipation or something. I'm going nuts.
You should just go to like, oh man, you can't even go anywhere.
Yeah, I can't go anywhere. I can't walk down my fucking stairs. Anyway, take it easy, internet. Fuck all of you. I'm out of here. Take it easy.